So here's the stiff one of the week, Kev. This is everyone's favorite Warrior. The only person I know to have ever changed their name to Warrior. But here's Warrior on the Kliq.
Way instead of staying in the ring.
How would the company change from the last time you were there?
It hadn't really. No. I mean, there was the Kliq going on between Nash and Hall and those guys are scumbags. Right. I mean, they're just, the kind of ribs and stuff that they would play and tearing people's stuff up, and they always got ulterior motives to destroy people instead of concentrating on what they have to offer and what they can do. They got to play both sides and try to, damage other people's abilities from the backside.
Backside, clearly a reference to the summer of '92. Were you guys ripping people's clothes up? I didn't think that was you guys. I heard a lot of Dynamite would do shit like that, but
yeah, when he was asked what we did or whatever, he just kind of went. They were on top of the card, having great matches, holding people back because they were on top, because everyone knows that Vince puts people on top that don't draw, and but no, nothing had changed except I was opening match.
Did you get along with Warrior? Could anyone get along with Warrior? He was a bit of an odd bird.
So I moved to Phoenix, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to call him fucking Warrior. I'm going to call him Jim. So Jim has a gym, and it's Warrior's gym. So I go there, and he's got a blazer, and it's airbrushed. I mean, put Jimmy Hart to shame, airbrushed, with Warrior's face on the fucking hood of it and everything else. You walk into the gym, and it's corrugated steel with all kind of kind of has this. But it had a good atmosphere. And I walked in, and I bought 2 platinum memberships, one for me and one for my wife. Didn't ask for fucking nothing free. I mean, gave him, close to a grand, and this is probably 94, 95, for a year's membership. So I would come in there on my days off, and at that point it was a lot more, than I had previously had, and I would see his truck out there, and I'd be like, oh fuck, let me just say hi to Jim. And I walk in there, and believe it or not, at the front desk, the girl that worked there her name was Dana, and she taught aerobics, and she was friends with my wife. They became friends. Who ended up being the Warrior's wife, who does the Warrior Award. That's Dana.
Yeah.
So I guess she goes by Dana Warrior now. Anyway, he just he would run, and I would see him. I'd be working out. He'll be out in the floor singing a little bit, and I just see his truck take off. He had this back door he'd go out because he didn't want to. So finally one day I saw his truck, and I looked in the gym, and he was working out, and he was doing lateral raises. So I just fucking walked in behind him. I fucking stood behind him, and I was a head taller than him. I said, we got a fucking problem? And he turned around, and he was like, no. I said, well, what the fuck, man? I said, I thought we're the boys. Like, I didn't know the dude. I mean, this is the first fucking time in my life that I've seen this human being. And he put like a 2-page handwritten note on the. I had a Bronco at the time, which I still own. So I should say it. I had my Bronco in Phoenix at that time. We both lived in. I think he lived in Carefree. I was in North Scottsdale, but we lived within 3 or 4 miles from each other. And he put this long note how I was a warrior. Like he had approved.
Oh, you
And
got the
I got the
approval.
fucking the nod of approval, and he rolled me 2 really fucking nice fucking blunts, and put it in my the fucking windshield wiper. So, and then he came in and he worked that thing with Hogan. Like when he came in at the end, the only thing was he beat he beat Triple H in like 2 seconds at WrestleMania, but I'd already given my notice. I mean, I didn't have any, nobody said a word to that fucking guy, and then Vince said when I told him I was definitely leaving, and Vince and I were sitting down in Vince's office, and Vince said, "I want you to do 3 favors for me. I want you to put over Shawn Michaels at In Your House, Omaha." I said, "Fuck yes." He said, "I want you to put Taker over at WrestleMania." I said, "Anything for Mark." I said, I worked with Mark in Israel when he had broken ribs, and and he was still doing the gimmick where he had to sit up all the time. He had this flak vest on to try to protect his ribs, and that motherfucker, man, it was, So anything for Mark. And then he said, "And I want you to put over the Warrior." And I said, "I'll do it on Raw if he can take one on me." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "In a shoot, if he can take one on me, I'll do the fucking job." He said, "Well, all right then, how about just those 2?" I said, "Yeah, cool."
So they were looking to get some real traction. They were going to go somewhere with Warrior that late.
Well, they did this thing where he put out a comic book, and they put a comic book with every issue of WWF at the time magazine. So you got that was a way that he charged them like $2 a copy or whatever the fuck it was. So I mean, he got like a nice little payday, coming in the door.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he was much stiffer on you there than you were on him.
Well, and the thing,
you and Scott were scumbags.
Yeah. Well, he also, I mean, so then I challenged him to a shoot fight on Twitter, and it gets to the point where, and I mean, I swear to God, I was stoned, and I fucking typed like whatever it was back then, 140. And I'm stoned as fuck, and I type it, and I just send it out, and I'm like, what the fuck? He comes back with like this edited, there's like 33 edits in it. He spent 3 fucking days of his life, because I just told him, like, "Hey man, we each put up $100,000, we'll just fucking get in the ring, we'll just go. Winner takes all. I need 9 months to train. Obviously, you don't respect the mixed money." I'm just thinking to myself, so I'm watching this thing, and I'm looking at all these edits and how many days it must have took for him to do this. I'm thinking like, oh, wow, man. Like, I didn't realize like you would give me that much real estate in your brain. So then it jumped forward, and now it's the Hall of Fame. And he's going in. And I'm there. And I forget who was going in that time. Was Scott go? Did Scott go in with him, or did? I don't know.
In a minute, someone will look it up.
Yeah, I don't know who went in. Maybe I did. I don't fucking know. No, we didn't go in together. Mine was Macho was with me. But anyway, so he's in the light, because they're taking pictures, and you can't see when that light's on. It was almost like how we were Sunday.
You're on stage, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can't fucking see beyond that band of lights. And I just fucking walked through those lights. And that's the first time since, I mean, it's been a couple of years, but I mean, it's the first time we've seen each other since all this, things back and forth. And I just slowly start walking towards him. And I can see, like, he's just looking at me, and I get close enough where I could have easily have struck him, and did still nothing. I put my hand out and I said, "Congratulations," and we hugged. He was sopping wet, and it was freezing in this room. and he was sopping wet. So I'm thinking to myself, like in retrospect, like fuck, like he was in trouble because he had a heart attack like 2 days later.
He did, yeah.
You know, and it was just like I was thinking to myself, like fuck, man, I should say, like, dude, are you okay? Because I remember it really stuck with me, man. He was just, and it was cold in that room, and he was sopping wet.
Well, it's a good thing he didn't make a move because that would have been a fucking involuntary manslaughter for you if with his bad ticker.
No, he was. I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to do anything. You know, I wasn't going to.
If he
do
did,
anything.
you would have had to defend yourself.
He wasn't going to.
How tall was he? He wasn't a tall guy. Was he?
6'3", maybe.
Oh, that's tall.
6'2", I don't know. I remember
All right.
I saw him when I was a mark. I went down to Joe Louis and I saw him, and he was the Dingo Warrior.
Yeah.
He was the biggest motherfucking human being in the ring I'd ever seen in my life. He was so fucking jacked.
So jacked, yeah.
Yeah, and he wasn't on TV yet. And he worked with Ronnie Garvin. And Garvin did got him down, like, slammed him and did the Garvin stomp all the way around.
Yeah.
And then he kind of hulked out of that and fucking, did the clothesline, then hit him with a splash.
I'm thinking a whole episode on the Garvin stomp next week, maybe. Okay, that's just the various times the
Wow.
effectiveness of the move. I think it should be brought back today with today's era of believability.